So all of you here, all 500 or so of you, are going to stop before you leave today and get your special edition Wallace and Ladmo library card, but you don't know what it looks like because today is our special reveal. So I'm going to invite Pat McMahon to come stand next to our table here, and I'm going to go down there. I wore my heels today so I could reach, and we are going to reveal the special edition library card.
Don't fall off.
I'm not going to fall off. I'm not the essence of this. All right. Are you ready, Pat?
Drum roll.
Drum, do you want to do a countdown? Drum roll.
Which is your better side? Greetings. Yes? No? No. Not good.
No?
How about now?
Yeah.
How about now?
Yeah.
There we go. Greetings. I'm Richard Ruelas. I'm a reporter at the Arizona Republic at the AZ Central. I also have the privilege of co-writing the coffee table book, as Wallace called it, Ho Ho Ha Ha Hee Hee Ho Ho Wallace and Ladmo Show 35 Years of Laughter. And I had the honor of writing Wallace's biography. Thanks for tuning in. Available here. And there's the copy of that book. It's a rare book. It's out of print. And I also have the honor of being able to interview here on stage a guy who was instrumental in my life and all of yours. Born in Leavenworth, Kansas, and a Capitol recording artist. Also a broadcaster. Pat McMahon. Come.
What kind of a transition is that? He was born in Leavenworth, Kansas, and a Capitol recording artist. Richard, sit down. My parents, by the way, were a vaudeville dance act and traveled everywhere. And so I was on the road all the time. But my parents, before I was born, they were in Latin America, and I don't think you know this story. And if you do know, respond positively. So my parents were on a Latin American tour, and my mom said, you know, Jack, my wardrobe is beginning to get a little snug, but I don't usually put on weight. It was me. And she said, I don't want our child to be born out of the country. So let's go back to my hometown and he can be born, then we can go back on tour. Well, you see, as an embryo, I didn't know what her hometown was. And so when I was born and looked around and I said, oh, Kansas, breadbasket, I remember, that's nice. Leavenworth, the prison capital of the United States. I could have been born in Rio or Lima, Peru. No, in Leavenworth, Kansas. So since then, when people said, so where were you born, Pat? You lived everywhere. Where were you born? Leavenworth, Kansas. And then I would get lines like, was your mom doing time? Or did you have a name or a number? So I'm so thrilled that you introduced me first after a few other accomplishments as a kid from Leavenworth, Kansas.
I'm glad you escaped Leavenworth.
I think somehow our audio man doesn't want both of us to speak.
That could be. I don't know whether this is coming. Maybe I need to be closer. You're the expert with the mic.
While they're doing something about your audio, let me say I am delighted, of course, with the remarkable video that Julia put together. That was astounding for us who were on the show. I was sitting here laughing like mad. I didn't even remember some of the bits, but and I'm thrilled that we had luminaries. That's the first time that I've seen Governor Hobbs since she was my prom date. A story that you didn't cover. This is absolutely remarkable. The street name last year, Wallace and Ladmo Way, and then preserving the Channel 5 building. But this is about as big as it can get. Captain Kangaroo and Mr. Rogers, they did not get a library card. So could we say thank you to the people of the Phoenix Library System? Wow.
Yeah, good. Now it seems slightly amplified. Good. I think a question we all have that I'll start with: what is the 72 Soul guy really like? You bounced around as a kid all around. What was your connection to libraries growing up?
Oh, no, that's a great question. We would go from town to town because there was usually a theater, a vaudeville theater with a feature and a cartoon and a travelogue. Oh, and a newsreel. That's how people got to see what was going on in the world. And then 6, 7, 8 acts of vaudeville, dance lines and jugglers and comics. And so when we would pull into a new town and pull up in back of the theater to unload the props and the wardrobe, I knew nothing about the town or the city, except there was a library. And that meant I had a home. And I loved reading. I was homeschooled, and my mom planted the value and the benefit of learning to read early on. And so I would go, and I remember discovering the wonderful world of Oz and all of the Oz books that Frank L. Baum wrote, and so many of the other wonderful features. And thinking about this library, I don't know whether the audience knows, but your books about Wallace biographically and about the show are the only books that have been banned by the entire Phoenix library system.
We are working on an appeal. I will say I was tickled because I spent a lot of time in libraries growing up.
Oh,
You talk about the library, then they give you the microphone.
Yeah.
I was tickled to go to the card catalog, type in my name, and something comes up. That was just great. We are now in a weird year where the show now has been off the air as long as it was on the air, and people still talk about it, remember it. We are now dealing with a generation that is nostalgic for a show they never saw. I've always said that one of the only bad things about growing up with the Wallace and Ladmo show is having to explain it to someone who didn't. What do you tell people who never saw the show to explain to them what it was?
well, as it was explained to me the first time I ever saw the show. I don't even know that we talked about this, but I was in the Army, and on our side, I had been drafted and had been a broadcaster before that in the Middle West. Went to high school and college in Iowa, and so after the Army, I said, okay, now what? I'm going to continue in broadcasting, and probably some elements of performance, theater, something. And I said, well, I probably ought to go to New York because I think that's where everybody goes. But a friend of mine in the military said, you know, it's May of 1960. There's no better weather in the United States at this time than in Phoenix, Arizona. Why don't you just go find a place, rent for a couple of weeks, maybe with a pool, and shake the khaki off? And I said, great idea. I guess I was in Phoenix when I was a kid, but I don't remember anything about it. It came down from Colorado Springs to Phoenix, Arizona, fell in love with the city immediately. But when I opened the door to my rental place, there was a television set. As God is my witness, this was the exact order of my introduction to Phoenix television. In the kitchen, there was a television set on the counter, and I turned it on and said, well, I wonder what Phoenix TV is like. And on came that theme song before the Candello theme song, Ho Ho Ha Ha Hee Hee, Oriental Blues. And here's these two guys sitting on a set, and I said, oh God, no, not a kid show. The absolute depths, the depths of entertainment in television anywhere. The guy in the sales department that was not making his commission, they said, here's a sailor hat, go entertain the kids and entertain the cartoon, or introduce the cartoons. That was about it. And then I saw Wallace, who I found out later was Wallace, turn to the guy in the high hat and say, lad, we're in trouble with the sales department. Well, immediately I'm kind of locked in because kid show entertainers don't usually talk about sales. And he said, we're in trouble with the sales department because we've been ad-libbing the commercials, and they said we're not showing enough respect for the clients, and some of them are canceling. And what are we going to do? And Wallace says, here, we have to read the commercials from now on. Well, I'm really locked in all of a sudden at these two guys talking about sales, and so far they haven't even acknowledged that anybody's watching. He says, here, read this. You be personality 2, I'll be personality 1. It says so on the top. They've written this for us. You start. And this was 1960. Word for word, I remember Ladmo saying, hey, these are Ruskets flakes, gang. They're cornflakes that will make your tummy go yum, yum, yummy. And he turns to Wallace and says, I think I'm going to throw up. I'm like this. I haven't seen a kid show that didn't start with how to brush your teeth in my life. And these guys are talking about Ruskets flakes and the idiotic things that they insist television personalities saying. Wallace says, I know you talk about not being respectful to the client. Wait a minute, here, give me the box of it. Look, gang, they're cornflakes. The next time you and your mom go to the grocery store, okay, try this. If you don't like them, keep in mind, there's a guy named Ruskets over on the coast that has a warehouse full of these things. And if you don't like them, you can always tear off the top, and the two of them did that. And they started throwing the cornflakes in the air while they were singing Old Lang Syne. And they went to a cartoon. I said, I gotta meet these guys. Well, what is there in New York that's this clever and this funny? Well, I went down with a resume. They hired me for the news department. I instantly, instead of going to the news department, went to the main studio, introduced myself to Wallace and Ladmo, and a few weeks later, as I was sitting there, as I did every day, watching the show instead of putting the news together, Wall looked over and said, hey, you know what, Pat? I have inadvertently written a comedy bit for 3 guys. There's only 2 of us. You want to help out? And for 30 years, I was the new guy who helped out.
If you had the misfortune of not growing up with the Wallace and Ladmo show, if you lived in another city, there was, every station had, right? the sailor, the hunter, the whatever, and they would do the commercials. And that's how the stations kept the show on the air, was to do commercials.
And they had to pay for those expensive cartoon packages.
Right. And the government stepped in, of course, and said, kids show personalities can no longer do commercials. It's manipulative. As soon as that rule passed, every kid show in America went off the air, except for two: Bozo the Clown in Chicago and the Wallace and Ladmo show in Phoenix. It's remarkable. When I tell people about the show, there's two stories that sort of cement it. One of them is, and we saw a bit if you were here early enough to see it, Hubcap and the Wheels. That existed in Phoenix. What was it like to be Hub?
Well, first of all, how it began, and yes, I'm an Irish guy known for very long stories. I'll keep it short as best I can. Walt came into the dressing room, and this is how so many of the bits and the characters started. Walt came into the dressing room and he said, "These Beatle guys, they're everywhere. These Beatle guys, they're not just in the show business sections of the paper, they're on the front page. Every magazine, they're in news stories. We've got to have our own overnight teenage sensation." So Mike Candello, our band leader, and I said, "Well, I guess that's us." So when do you want us to start? We got to get costumes and a kind of a concept together. He said, "Tomorrow. It's an overnight teenage sensation." So we threw something together. It wasn't the final costume, but Hub finally wound up with James Brown pompadour wig and eyebrows to match, and that black outfit. And I wrote a song that took about 4 minutes because we decided we should probably have a record. Even if nobody played it, we should be recording artists. And so I wrote a song called "Work's a Dirty Word," so we recorded it at a local studio, and one of the radio stations started playing it, and then another one, and all of a sudden, everywhere, Hubcap and the Wheels was on the air. And I'll tell you, if you're involved in music, it's a huge thing to hear that record, particularly that first record, played back in your car or at home. We were on the radio with this comedy rock and roll group that was a satire on the music business. And over at Capitol Towers in Hollywood, there was a meeting of executives about that week's charts, the success story of everybody's place in the music business. And it was always the Beatles, number 1, number 2, number 5. They owned it. And one of the executives looked at a bunch of other guys and said, "What the hell is a hubcap?" Well, looking at the Phoenix radio charts, and the top selling record in Phoenix, Arizona is "Work, Work" by Hubcap and the Wheels. What is that? Ernie, go over and find out what that is. And Ernie came over, went to a concert of ours, came backstage and said, "I have no idea what you sound like because everybody was screaming so loud." Well, it was because we were Phoenix. We were the Phoenix guys who all of a sudden were getting all this attention, and the kids loved it. And it was a Wallace and Ladmo crowd. And so we signed with Capitol Records, and Steve Allen show was on, Joey Bishop, and a number of things, and they were taking it seriously. They took it very seriously. They didn't even know that it was a wig. Except for Steve, he caught on.
And it was such a Phoenix-centric thing, right? Phoenix was they knew the Beatles were likely touring here, so they could come cheer for Hub. And it made, again, this city unique and special for that. And that's a story that I think crystallizes the show if you didn't grow up with it. The other character that I think also explains the show to people who didn't see it is Gerald. What a fully... Gerald is getting applause, not blues. I think the applause is for you.
Only for the people who had difficult childhood.
Yes. But explaining what Gerald was and the story of Gerald coming onto the show and within a few days inspiring visceral hate among kids quickly. That was a fully formed character out the gate. What was it like to be Gerald?
Oh, it was sensational. No, I mean, if you're going to be the bad guy, it's like the World Wrestling Association, you know. The good guy, nobody remembers, but the heel, everybody recalls from their childhood. And Gerald was every rotten, miserable child that anybody ever remembered going to school. He not only dressed fashionably in velvet with the lace collar, but he was also the kid that bragged about the fact that he was a private school child and he was privileged and couldn't stand public school children or virtually anybody else that was beneath him on the social calendar level, which is almost everybody. So this was the kid that didn't like anybody that lived on a lesser mountain than he did. And he was at the peak and reminded everybody all the time. And it was just extraordinary to be the antithesis of Ladmo, everybody's lovable sweet guy.
That first public appearance, I don't know if I ever asked you what it was like. That first public appearance, you're at Papago Plaza, the kids start storming the stage, wanting to attack Gerald, who wanted to cancel the fireworks show.
You want to know what it was like?
Yeah.
Terrifying. No, because we really knew we were on to something then. The kids just couldn't stand him because he was everything that they didn't like. I mean, he bragged about his position, bragged about his grades, and bragged about everything he was, and that he continued to remind them that they weren't. So everything about him was loathsome, and how wonderful to be able to play that kind of villain.
Part of the magic of the show is that there were three people who were completely different from each other who came together for this. Tell us about Ladmo off the set.
There wasn't any Ladmo off the set. No, he was Ladmo, the most recognizable Arizonan there was. We couldn't go anywhere without that kind of recognition. Sure, whenever we would go on our personal appearance tours on the weekends, no matter how far removed we would be on the reservations, everybody got it. Wallace was the straight man, Ladmo was the good guy, and Gerald was despicably hated by everybody for every good reason. Lad was one of the most lovable people because he was just real. He was just that genuine guy. Gerald got straight A's, and Ladmo celebrated every time he got a B-. I did it well, and everybody understood that when you tried hard, and there was nobody that tried harder than Ladmo. Lovable, sweet guy. And so when you had the good guy and the bad guy, and you had the straight man in between, that's the kind of thing that lasts 36 years.
Absolutely.
Every day, Monday through Friday.
And then the stage shows on the weekends, and yeah. I'm gonna drop being the reporter. I'm gonna drop being the Wallace and Ladmo historian and speak as a fan on behalf of people who grew up with the show like me. Thank you. And I don't know whether you putting together the show can appreciate the magic it was for us as viewers. I didn't know as a kid that one man was playing all of these characters.
Oh, wonderful.
It was years. I genuinely thought these were actual people.
Every one of them.
Yes.
Every one of them rotten to the core. I mean, Aunt Maud was a little freaky.
Yes.
Particularly when she thought that somebody single might drop by the retirement home. But no, I got a chance to play these marvelous characters like Hum, and but most of them were terribly flawed, thanks to the writing of Bill Thompson, Wallace, the genius. Could we hear one just for Wallace and not Ladmo? Yes. Oh, thank you. Wallace would have said, "Thank you for the standing ovation, but I know you only wanted to straighten out your shorts." He was the guy that didn't get the credit he deserved. He was the producer of the show, the writer of everything, at least that we didn't ad lib. Here's a guy that came from great affluence in Bronxville, New York. Ladmo came from a Polish family in Cleveland to Arizona State University, where he starred in baseball. And I came from show business folks. And why that worked, why that chemistry happened, to this day, I'll never be able to explain it, but I don't try, because it did, for 30 years for the three of us.
No, and I don't know whether I'm alone as a kid who didn't realize that Pat was everybody. And I can't even remember when I did. It is a credit to how you did the show that I really thought all of these were separate people, and I'm seeing some head nods that yes, it was wonderful.
Channel 5 could never afford a cast that
Was there a concerted effort to have you never appear as yourself? And did you realize that we didn't know you were the one playing all these people?
I was appearing as myself on Channel 12, the Today in Arizona show, the Morning Today show, as a co-host with Diane Callis, and I was on the radio as me. But the idea of Pat being on the Wallace and Ladmo show, the appropriate question would be, why? Who needs him? A disc jockey, program director of rock and roll music on Chris, and the subject of rock and roll, by the way, we probably should acknowledge the fact that one of the wildest things ever was when Wall said, "So why don't we have a rock and roll guy?" And we were talking about Hubcap and the Wheels, but nobody dreamed that it was going to become a network personality traveling around the country and recording for Capitol Records. We just thought it was great satire on the music business, and we made it about as outrageous as you could possibly get. But it was marvelous, because while at that time there wasn't really a music industry in Phoenix, and as one kid said one time, we don't care whether it's that same guy that was playing Gerald in Captain Super. Hubcap was our guy, and we don't even care if he's not real. He's a music guy that makes records, and he came from Phoenix.
The genius of Mike Condello, who did so much of the music, wrote the iconic theme song, and again, the magic of the show. The first time I heard the songs on Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, They were not being performed by the Beatles. I heard them performed by Commodore Candelo's Salt River Navy Band, and when I finally heard the Beatles record, I wondered why they were ripping off Wallace and Ladmo. Again, this, as a kid growing up here, how much it affected us. When we first started talking for the book, I inadvertently insulted you and Wallace because I said, well, they did stock comedy bits. And you said, no, these were original. Like, no one was doing this kind of humor. But for me, as a kid, this was what I learned was funny. I just assumed this is the baseline. This is what humor is, and everybody acknowledges in my world, this is what humor is.
And I'm still offended.
No.
Did you turn this, Eddie, did you turn this off? Because I was about to say, I'm still offended.
But you taught me and everyone, I mean, it's the firmament of what humor was, and I think that is, again, the magic of the show that we're here to celebrate. And among the things that were magical, by the way, I never won a Ladmo bag. How many of you never won a Ladmo bag? I think I have not won a Ladmo bag in as many ways as there possibly are.
No, but everybody, okay, let me ask you this. Even the people who moved here after Wallace and Ladmo, and you heard about it, who wanted to win a Ladmo bag? Yeah, see?
Yeah.
And who in this audience, way in the back, over there, a really ancient person over here. No, but you know, if you just moved here from Toledo, a Ladmo bag was something that you think, why is there such a conversation point when I bring up winning a prize on the air, and he said, wait a minute, I had my name called, and I was the winner of the Wallace and Ladmo, and I got a Ladmo bag. Well, what's the big deal? Oh, what was in it? What, like, Krugerrands? No, Hostess cupcakes, and
Maybe some soda pop.
right, absolutely no, and an 8x10, right, and a whole variety of just stuff that kids liked, and Ladmo's name on the outside, Ladmo bag, and an autographed picture inside. And if you didn't understand the value of that and having your name called on the air, and the next day going to school saying, Murray, we heard you mentioned on the show as the winner of the Ladmo bag. Can I come over and have a Twinkie? It was, and still is, a huge thing. And
Yeah, I was a Cub Scout troop. Our Cub Scout troop visited, and Aaron De Lavara sat in the seat that I wanted to sit in, and he ended up winning the Ladmo bag, so I was one seat away. Every Ladmo bag that was given out, there's 6 people who were one seat away, and we'll find out, again, the magic of the show.
what was his name again?
Aaron De Lavara. Yes, I remember. But the magic of the show, I was able to get the copy of what the layout would be today, and I created.
He is now, as a result of that, he is now the governor of the Yucatan. What are we going to do?
Well, I was able to get the layout of what people would be sitting in, so I was able to create a seating chart.
Wait a minute. Okay, explain the seating chart to the folks.
Well, this is the magic. This is the magic of the show, because I guess if you want to show them what the seating chart looks like.
Yeah, that was it. No, that was it. Wallace would say, okay, here's the seating chart. Well, it wasn't the greeting. The seating chart was for the people who came to the show as the audience, right?
So in the studio or at Legend City or anywhere.
Otherwise, we would pick a ticket out of the great big barrel.
The postcard.
Right, the postcards that would come in, and Wallace would say, okay, are we going to do this now?
Yes, but I will say I didn't realize the seating chart was blank until we were discussing it at the mural, and you showed a blank piece of paper. Again, I was a goofy kid, we all were, but the magic of the show, I truly believed that there was a seating chart that was read and predetermined what the seat was. I was blown away to find that out.
Well, we weren't cheating anybody. We just wanted to say simply that we were giving away a leg. That's why you can't be trusted with a microphone. All right, okay.
Where do I go?
Ladmo's assistants, okay. Now, listen, there are folks here from Fort Worth, Indiana, who just drove in an hour and a half ago. I have no idea what we're talking about. Even you are eligible for a Ladmo bag. But I want to know right now here, you do have people who did win a Ladmo bag at some time in their lives? Yeah, oh, no, that's great. You don't have to worry, you're not going to get hustled in the parking lot. Okay, sixth row in this aisle over here. The sixth row, Ladmo's assistant, okay? And, are you at the sixth row?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay. First seat in.
That's you.
Oh, sir, no, turn around and show them your shirt. Show them your shirt. Turn around and show them the Ladmo shirt. Somebody's got to get a picture of that. Yeah, Ladmo never learned to tie a tie. And so we had the tie printed on Ladmo's shirt. He was a simple soul, lovable. No, down this side. Okay, 32 rows. No, no. Count. 15. Yeah, count 15 rows, way in the back. Sorry, gentleman with the beard. Yeah, only clean-shaven people, including the women. Okay, are you there? Okay, I can hardly see you because of the sun bouncing off my award-winning glasses. 6 seats in from the aisle. Please stand. Richard, run back here quickly. You have 12 seconds. What? Why are you pushing me around? There's a woman that is in charge of the Sunny Slope Museum that has constant display, right? It's on, as long as you're open, there's a display of Wallace and Ladmo.
And look, when we say Sunny Slope Historical Society, I know all of you are making quiet jokes in your head. That's not called for.
No, Sunny Slope is a charming town to go through. Okay, now, do you know about this?
I do not.
Okay, dear, you whispered something. Is this just another bag that we're going to be giving away a prize? Instead of doing sign
Goes to
language.
him. You're giving the bag to Richard.
What?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What if I don't want to give the bag to
I need to admit it.
Richard? Wait, just a second, hold on. Is this thanking Richard for not charging us for this appearance?
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Hold on just a second. Wait. Yeah, Cracker Jacks,
Okay.
Lay's potato chips, can of pop, picture of Wallace and Ladmo, and a $300,000 gift certificate. Oh, this is to Goldwater's. I thank you for the most let's hear it for the guy who wrote all those books about us. And the spelling was wonderful.
But my identity has been seared as never having won one. Technically, I was given it, so I still haven't won.
Well, then you probably will have to leave journalism altogether.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Pat.
My best. And thank you. Thank you for all those years. God bless you. It was so much fun to be with you every day. And even Jerry is good. Thank you for being here today.
Take the seating chart with you. This is the smaller version of that big card. It is available. They also have bookmarks. It is available. Form a steady queue, an orderly queue, but right back here, you get your library card. You have the chance with this card to win your own Ladmo bag. So join the summer reading program with this card and you can win a Ladmo bag. I appreciate everyone being here.